Live from the studio of his parents' basement, the Have You Seen It podcast.
Hello and welcome back to the Have You Seen It podcast. My name is Mason Knight. Sitting across me is the one and only Cash Kraus. But before we begin, if you guys could please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. So with that said, Cash, what are we reviewing today?
Well, if you noticed, we haven't transported back into 1920. We are intentionally filming this in black and white.
We are. We must
So
clarify that.
That must mean we are doing another black and white movie.
Yeah, we've done a few this year.
Yeah, black and white is huge this year.
All in different styles, too.
Hollywood's all about trends, you know.
Yeah.
They get one studio finds out that another studio is doing black and white, and then all of a sudden they're like, well, fuck, we got to do black and white films. Mm-hmm. But this is the second A24 film this year that's in black and white. A24 is fond of black and white. The Lighthouse was in black and white,
Yes,
of
it
course.
was.
But when you have the right director and they say they want to do something in black and white, you just say, okay, go for it. You know, we don't give a fuck.
No.
I think it costs less still to shoot things in black and white also. But another black and white film. This film, like you said, different from the one we did previously. Just a drama. This is Cmon, starring
Joaquin Phoenix.
the Phoenix himself.
Yes.
My God. Rise from the ashes.
Is this his emblem now? Are we going to do this every time we talk about the Phoenix?
Here comes the Phoenix. Yep. Risen from the ashes, my guy.
And I would be remiss if we didn't talk about this part, Cash. Both you and I donated $40 to this film.
I wanted you to bring this up. I'm so glad you did.
We were pushing back reviewing this film for a while, guys, because I don't know if you know this, but me and Cash, we're kind of cheap. Don't want to pay $20 a piece to watch a film.
Who can?
I know.
This goddamn economy, I can't be paying $20 for an indie film.
So we were trying to push it back, but I mean, no matter what, we said at the end of January, we got to put our top 10 of 2021. We are a month behind, but it's just so hard right now to catch up with all these films.
Yeah, and Cmon is getting, so much buzz because Joaquin Phoenix said it's what made him fall in love with filmmaking again, and then buzz because of award season, is everyone's talking about that this may be the front runner for a lot of awards.
So we just bit the bullet.
We had to, man. We had to. Although I guarantee next week it will be on demand for
$4.99. Yeah, it's going to be real frustrating.
Because what did we rent last week? Or The Last Duel is on HBO Max now.
Yes, it is. Yeah, which is so frustrating because we just reviewed that last week and I paid for that. And now it's on HBO Max. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, so this one positively will be on. I think this one's coming to Amazon Prime at some point. Yeah, probably. It'll probably be free for streaming on Amazon Prime.
In a couple months or a month or two from now.
We may be the only people in the US of A that paid $19.99 to see this film.
Yeah, peace. They got two cells and it's both us.
Yeah, I think in the box office, this film only made $80. So we are 50% of that.
It made $2.1 million. That's it at the box office, which is pretty crazy.
That actually that's pretty good actually for an indie film. With very limited release.
Well, this one isn't super limited.
Yeah.
Like anywhere that we looked, Come On was not in any theater because I would have rather just went to a theater and watched it.
They will definitely make that money, their budget back once this thing does go down to $4.99 or $6.99 or whatever. Because a lot of people will end up seeing this film. They just won't end up seeing it for $19.99.
For $20, yeah.
Yeah. Although, we got past that. We had to get that off our chest.
We had to get that off our chest.
I'll never get that $20 back, man. It's going to burn. It's going to eat away at me forever. But I got to say, movie, very good.
Movie was
phenomenal.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I'm not upset that I spent $20 on it, ironically enough.
Had this movie been a big old stinking pile of Duke,
I would have been pissed.
$20. Oh, my God. But I think we were both pretty confident that this film, Joaquin Phoenix.
And I'm not gonna lie, I heard people talking about the film. I saw the buzz online.
I haven't seen anyone say they've disliked this film.
Right.
So, and Joaquin Phoenix, man, he's coming off such a fucking heater with the Joker that I was so excited to see what he did next, and I had a feeling it would be a movie like this after doing the Joker. Very, very heavy. This film's very heavy too.
It is
a different, much
but
different.
It's a different
way.
kind of heavy,
for sure.
Where you don't have to mentally drain yourself from being a maniacal character. It was more obviously real.
This one's
life.
more personal, for sure. You know, but yeah. So I was excited to see what he was going to do next, and I was not disappointed because he is one actor that only picks really, really good stuff to do. But yeah, like you said, a very personal film. Again, another beautifully shot film. Another film where I think black and white only adds to it.
Yeah, and as I brought up earlier, it's a different style of black and white.
Yeah.
I would see my screen kind of flicker from this, like, it's so hard to describe, like this brownish black and white to like this purplish black and white. But like, that sounds like it's not subtle, but it was like super subtle where I'm like, is this changing or is it not? Is this playing tricks with my eyes?
I felt the same way, almost where it wasn't just shot purely in black and white, but they were also messing with the color grading a lot. And I have to assume that
was intentional.
Was intentional, absolutely. Because there's no color at all in this film except for the credit scene. There's a this film was made for whatever, and that's the only scene that's like it's just words, but it's a blue background.
Oh, okay.
So I have to think they were doing something with color intentionally. And the director is Mike Mills, he's only directed a few films. His last film was 20th Century Woman that got nominated for Best Screenplay, but that was 2016.
Wow.
Has not done a film for 5 years.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know. But he comes back and he does something very personal and very beautiful, man. And just Joaquin Phoenix and the child actor, Woody Norman. It's a great name.
Woody's a great name.
Woody Norman.
Yeah.
Him and Joaquin played off each other so fucking well, man.
Yes, they did.
It was wild.
Kid was super impressive, very natural too.
That's what I was going to say.
Where I kept forgetting I was watching a film, and yes, I do want to talk about that more, but I have to give props to Gaby Hoffmann. How natural she was in those conversations and the choices she made stylistically, like as an actor, were so good. When she's sitting on the bed and she's talking to Joaquin Phoenix, I felt like they were brother and sister. Like the choices she made were brilliant.
Well, I'd love to talk about Gaby Hoffmann because she is. I would like to talk about any child actors that ended up making it past child acting. You know, she was. She played a little girl in a lot of things. She played the little girl in Uncle Buck.
Oh,
she played
Uncle
the little
Buck.
girl in Field of Dreams.
Oh.
And then she did stuff as a teenager. So she's been consistently working. And now she does like all indie stuff, which is a thing that you see a lot of child actors end up doing.
Look at Dakota Fanning. Has she been in any big movies?
We'll look at, what's his name? The guy, the kid from E.T., the drunk.
Oh, yeah.
Henry?
Henry, what's his name? Gosh darn it.
Yeah, well,
yeah, I know who you're talking about.
It's the whole reason is they won't get roles in mainstream films because they're no longer cute or anything, but they will get roles in indie films because indie films tend to care more about directing. Yeah, Henry Thomas, he started doing smaller stuff with Mike Flanagan again.
Yep.
And now he's branching into bigger stuff as well. But it always seems to go to the route for child actors. But yeah, Gaby Hoffmann, like I said, just the chemistry between these three characters.
Awesome.
No doubt in your mind that these guys weren't related. You felt 100% they were brother and sister, and 100% that he was the uncle. Yeah. For sure. It was crazy.
It's so hard. It's so hard as an actor, too, because you do this in, like, acting class and stuff, to really make your phone calls personable. And a lot of this dialogue, I mean, keep in mind, obviously, these two aren't really talking to each other on the phone, but the way they were able to deliver their performances was really good over those phone conversations, which phone conversations can get really boring in film. Like, you have to have really two powerful actors to perform it. And I thought they did great. Well, all those conversations were powerful with the kid and dealing with, the emotions and how to properly use it. And then complaining. Like, they're real adults. They're real people, being like, I love the scene where Viv was telling him, he was like, you don't know what to do. You never know what to do, but just keep going.
I know. It's a scary fucking thought. This whole thing is kind of an examination of, it's examination of like mental illness, what it is to raise a child on your own and how fucking hard it can be, and heartbreak by Joaquin's character who was, we never see, but hinted at that he was recently in love and broken up and kind of
still in love,
lost whatever that was, that hope in his life. It's just a cool little snapshot of very, very personal elements of people's lives that you don't hear about very often.
Well, and that was the thing too with Johnny, and it was subtle in a lot of ways, but the idea that Johnny was not comfortable talking about his emotions, and through this journey, and especially towards the end of this film and at the end of this film, he was finally, due to kind of guiding and mentoring Jesse in his own weird way was also kind of mentoring unintentionally. I don't think it was intentional by Jesse, but kind of showing him that it's okay to open up. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to talk about your feelings, because when he finds out about his dad at the end, he runs through the park and he finds him and he goes, it's okay not to be happy. Yeah. It's okay not to be happy.
Which is wild to have to tell a child that because of Jesse, who played by Woody Norman. He's so mature as a child.
Very mature.
Very mature as a child.
Uniquely mature.
And he is that way because of the life that he's had to live. And that's how you always see that through kids. Kids that are very mature as a young age, you can almost guarantee are going through some kind of tragedy.
Because they're forced, or just hanging around adults all the time.
Because they're forced to grow up at a very young age. And that's what he was going with a great fucking story of, played by Scoot McNairy, which is another great name. He's in a lot of stuff. But his dad was going through some kind of mental breakdown and has a mental illness and has never told or anything, but looks like the starts of schizophrenia or even just schizophrenia getting worse and worse. Right. So he had to live with that, and he knew very well that his dad was sick and unwell and what was going on. But
and not only that, but also comprehending the fact as a 9-year-old that not just as your dad, dealing with mental illness, but you being scared that you could end up the same way as your father.
Yeah, that's never brought up, but that is my initial thought immediately whenever I see this. And is the way he's acting right now is because he's showing early signs of mental illness or something like that. Because the kid is, like you said, he's very mature, and the elements work very well, especially with the whole interviewing back and forth. Because kids are, they'll ask any questions. Mm-hmm. They don't have any thought of should I ask this or not? Is this going to embarrass them? They just fucking ask any question that's on top of their mind. And adults aren't used to being asked questions like that.
No, they're not.
Are you happy? Mm-hmm. Or are you okay?
It kind of takes you back a little bit.
Or even he asked one time, do you struggle showing emotion and stuff like that? And it always takes Joaquin Phoenix's character back in this movie oh, fuck. I don't want to answer these questions.
And I loved, obviously, typically you don't like exposition in a film. And I wouldn't even necessarily classify this as exposition, but its own unique way it kind of was when Joaquin Phoenix was, doing his kind of self into the mic. The idea of abortion gets brought up. And he found out that his mom got an abortion.
That's a crazy
And then Joaquin Phoenix is in the mic by himself in the room, and he goes, how the fuck am I supposed to answer that?
And that was hilarious. Yeah, he's like, no, he goes, what the fuck do I say to that? He's
what the fuck do I say to that? It's a 9-year-old.
Exactly. And I think if you've ever hung out with a kid for longer than 10 minutes, you get asked those kinds of fuck. I mean,
the tough ones.
They'll tell you some crazy shit about their parents that clearly not supposed to.
I've had that happen a couple times.
Me too.
Where I'm didn't need to know that.
And I'm always just change the subject. What's your favorite color?
What's your favorite Hot Wheel? I don't know.
Who's your favorite Power Ranger?
Yeah, Power Ranger or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle.
But once they ask you a question about that kind of stuff, it seems like they don't want to change the subject ever. Mm-hmm. They'll just adamantly stick with it.
It's like they intentionally put you in a uncomfortable position without knowing.
Are so much smarter than what we give credit for.
They are, absolutely.
They're They're so self-aware, they absorb everything. Mm-hmm. So, they're little versions of us.
Yeah. But you think about a kid too, and as you said, they are smart. In a lot of ways, when you say a word, you say a curse word or something around them, they're going to stick with that word.
Yeah, exactly. And although they don't know the meanings of a lot of words, they get the feeling between for a lot of words.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But you talked about, I'll go back, and we got off on a crazy tangent, but just the phone call scenes. For people that don't know, most of the time when you're shooting a phone call scene, you're not shooting it with the other actor.
No.
You're just doing your lines, and then you have assistant director reading the lines. I have to assume they were really talking to each other, or maybe just had Joaquin come in and read the lines off because it felt, like you said, very fucking natural.
Well, and you know what? That actually might be the case because this film was filmed in sequence.
That's what was my next scene. And
so,
that, very rarely you see a film in sequence.
especially a film like this.
But this one, genius, because you can feel the relationship between Jesse and Johnny getting closer and closer as
time goes on.
As the film goes on, and you can obviously only assume was the group relationship between Joaquin Phoenix and the actor.
Absolutely. I think that was, again, to kind of build off what you're saying, that's a brilliant move on the director's part because you're dealing with a kid at the time of filming was 7 or 8 years old. He's 9
never
now,
acted.
Never
First
acted.
film role.
So, you go and shoot day one, might be in the middle of a script or at the end of the film, but that development, that relationship has not been built between the two.
Yes.
So to start the film out this way, meeting him at the house, because you felt that awkwardness, right? When Johnny walked through the door, I really felt like it
strangers.
was
Exactly.
strangers, like the first time. But I really felt that. It wasn't like film feeling it,
Yeah.
you know? And then you do see the relationship build. So I think a perfect way to make this film is in sequence. It probably costs more money.
Oh, it's so much
well
more.
worth it.
It's so much more expensive than to shoot in sequence. That's why people don't do it. Everyone would do it if it didn't cost so much. But you
know
have
what's
to be
so
able
incredible?
to schedule things out to where you shoot all the action sequence in one day, then you do the rest of the film. But this one, like you said, directors do those film tricks all the time, but they're usually like smaller scale. Like they won't introduce this character. You won't know he's coming on set this day, and then they'll surprise everyone. Or
Just
whatever.
like Bradley Cooper in
Exactly.
Licorice Pizza.
Or like the Goonies, they never showed him the boat coming in at the end until the very end, and all the kids were amazed by it. But this one, they do it throughout the entire film. But it, to me, after seeing it, the only way you could have shot this film
Totally agree.
is to do in sequence. Because like you said, you grow with these characters, and they for sure, it's very awkward at the start.
Yeah.
It's for sure.
When you can see Jesse increasingly getting on Johnny's nerves, like time and time again. And then Johnny, and I love this. I love it. It's simplistic, the story and everything, but I love the relationship of like Johnny, calling Viv and being like, I screwed up. I yelled at him. I scared him because I was yelling at him. And then him trying to deal with his emotions and feelings, and Viv being like, well, he's a person. Go to him like a person. He can handle it. Tell him you apologize and how do we fix this and that kind of stuff. But just all those scenes were just really, really good because it felt like real life.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say too. Is it just felt super realistic of just watching a kid or whatever, or not really knowing what to do, or especially the scenes when he'd turn around and Johnny would be gone. Those are the
Every
most
single one of those were so stressful for me
know.
because I didn't know. I didn't have a lot of context. I obviously didn't know how the film ended, and I didn't know if it was going to be like a drama and then like a tragedy. I had no idea how the film was going to go.
Well, those scenes in any films, like a parent losing a kid just for a split second, just because everyone's been there or something when they felt not even a kid, maybe lost an animal or something, they're freaking out.
Yeah.
Those scenes always get me. But yeah, it's definitely not a. There's no twist at all for sure. It's just straight up, like I said, just like a snapshot of.
I got to talk about this scene. I also love this scene too. It's coming to mind. And that was when Johnny, for the first time, was doing the apologizing. And he's reading from his phone. And they're trying to break down. He's doing the same thing that Viv does in the pattern that she does it. And he's like, you're really bad at this. He goes, yeah. He goes, do I do it like your mom? He goes, she doesn't read off a phone. It's so funny.
Yeah, the writing for this kid was fucking phenomenal, dude. It felt like a kid wrote it. I mean, it was so well written, and this kid was so uniquely strange and kind of weird, especially with the whole orphan thing that he did, where he would
so weird.
These kids are weird like that, though.
They
dude.
are.
They do like things that you just can't explain for no reason. But that whole thing of him coming, and it was for a reason or whatever. It was like he felt lost at the time, so he pretends to be an orphan.
And then he'd have like horrible stories about, his mom and dad.
The orphanage
both dying,
burned down,
Or the orphanage, or all of his siblings
And
died.
his mom would always be like, "Oh, that's so crazy because my son's gone, and I got a bed just for
I got
you."
a bed for you, yeah. And he goes to bed about this time, so let's do that.
It's just cool, man. definitely the kid everyone hopes to have for sure. I mean, a very understanding and patient kid. But again, you only felt like he was that because
of his upbringing.
He dealt with crazy shit, yeah. So he knew he was just way more
Aware of the
patient
world.
with parents, with adults in general. But yeah, great.
I love the, again, as Johnny and Jesse as Jesse is increasingly getting on Johnny's nerves, he decides to make the decision to send him back.
That's a good scene.
It's a really good scene because the kid's like, oh, I got to poop. And he's like, I'm going to poop myself in the car, And I'm thinking, oh, boy.
I don't know what diner in New York is just allowing people to come and use the bathroom. Not a chance.
No, especially not in New York.
No, that's what I'm saying. You got to pay, guy. Come on.
Sorry, pal. That's $15 fee.
Shitting
for a bathroom?
Yeah. Well, you got to buy something on the menu. You got to buy something,
But, he goes to the bathroom and he locks the door. And I immediately knew, after, sitting on the toilet and everything, he just didn't want to leave. He didn't want to leave Johnny, Which is kind of a
he didn't want to go home back to reality.
Yes, he didn't want to. That's the biggest thing. He didn't want to go back to Viv because he told Johnny this later. But I don't want to go back to my mom. He would say very, very off-putting things about his mother. We knew he didn't really believe that, but he would say it.
Oh, he's just angry.
Yeah, he's just angry. But he didn't want to go home because he told Johnny that his mom would be really depressed because of his father.
It was like that's what he says. Like, what am I going to go back to? My mom's going to be sad. My dad's not going to be there.
Yeah.
So what's the point? But yeah, I like that scene a lot. And this scene is shot in so many great. It's shot in L.A., it's shot in New York, and it's shot in New Orleans. So three very beautiful cities, especially shot in black and white.
Yeah.
Just great looking, especially when they're walking through the park or anything like that. Or down through a subway or something. It looks amazing. Yeah. It just looks really good. It was really well shot. And I got to give it to the other kids in this film, who I don't believe are actors. I think they were just interviewing them.
See, that's what's interesting.
There's no way those kids could be actors.
No, because it felt too natural.
For sure.
It felt way too natural. And it felt like those kids were actually from those areas.
Oh. And some of the things those kids were saying,
yeah.
I don't, no matter how good a writer you are, I just don't believe you could write it like that.
Yeah, no. Something like that, for sure.
But I love those scenes too, man. Those were beautifully shot scenes of those kids talking about the future, and it just kind of put the whole film in perspective. Because the film is really what it's like to be a kid going through kind of a tragedy or whatever.
Well, especially depending, and that's what's so diverse about America is especially where you grow up is so crucial. Unlike a lot of other countries, and not to throw countries under the bus, but you live in Russia, what your upbringing is probably going to be.
Yeah.
China, you know what it's going to be, but America is so diverse. As fact is you live in an inner city here, you might not be well off. You live here, you might be better off.
You live in New Orleans, you got a strong memory of a lot of floods.
And a lot of hurricanes, unfortunately.
It was just interesting, man. The whole concept, it's very the main character, Johnny, he works for a radio lab, NPR or something like that, where they go around and just get stories and whatever. But so he's interviewing all these kids about the history, but all the kids have something something profound to say, and it's a movie, but I also kind of wanted to listen to the podcast that he was doing, because I wanted to hear what these kids had to say, Some of them had tragic things to say, like the New Orleans kid. It was a guy died in this house. He's like, but he's a nice ghost.
He's a nice guy. Just
very I don't know, very dry and just kind of sad. It's But yeah,
well, that's just to bring it up, and I know we kind of know this already, but that was one thing that they sprinkled in throughout this film was just as far as the interviews and stuff is just the human experience in general, and just how drastically different it could be.
It's a very philosophical film for sure. Yeah, and really just about let's listen to these kids. That was a big part of the entire film was no one's listening to these kids. And that was the thing when he's like, I don't know how to act with, or I don't know how to what to do with them. And she was like, well, just listen to him, just talk to him like he's a normal fucking person or whatever. And but that was so foreign to Joaquin Phoenix's character at the start, to where he really wasn't sure. But by the end, they're talking to each other like they were equals and whatnot. But it ends up working out.
Ends up being the best of friends.
They ends up being the best thing for both of them is what they needed. They just happened to come into each other's lives at perfect time.
Another beautiful scene too, and this one really struck me. And I don't know why. Maybe you felt the same way about this, but the idea of losing your memories as a child, and the idea of like being 8 or 9, and then him and Johnny have this beautiful relationship, and at the end he goes, "I'm really scared. I'm going to lose this memory because Johnny's saying, as you grow up, you lose your memory." And it was so beautiful at the very end of this film for Johnny to send him all the audio recordings so he'll never forget that memory.
Right. Yeah. That's an interesting, the whole audio recording thing is very interesting as like a parent. Because you could set that up in a way to where like your kids could like, if they're frustrated or whatever, like, hey, talking to this thing, like, it's kind of genius. And then you can go back and listen to the recordings or whatever and see what they're dealing with. Because that's what he did a lot of time is he would go back. Because a lot of times, not Johnny, but Jesse would record without Johnny. So he would be saying things that Johnny wouldn't even know about.
Yeah,
so
and he'd be saying it in the microphone like, Johnny's really weird.
yeah.
He's a strange man.
Yeah, he's not the best uncle and like things like that. So he could go back and listen to all that. But very interesting.
It is, and that's something I'd like, or I would have liked for my parents back in the day to like have more of that, because I don't have like a lot of footage or anything of me as a kid, but to see that would be, super meta. But I would like to do that for my kids. Obviously, not like post it publicly, but just have a little library for them.
Oh God, no, yeah,
of, like
definitely
them
not.
as a kid.
It's also it's like a diary. It's a good way for them to just get out whatever. I don't know about giving them extremely expensive recording equipment like he had.
Yeah, no. Well, you know what I was thinking the whole time? At times
he was just like, just go with it.
I know, and I was like,
oh my God. He was like in the ocean, stomping around. I'm like, oh, I'd be sweating it.
That's what I said.
I'd be yelling at this kid the whole fucking time.
It's funny. I made a joke when me and Mary were watching this. I go, watch that kid run to the ocean with the equipment. Because he seemed like that kind of kid at first. And I was like, he might just do it to be a dick. Yeah. But the whole time when he's carrying it around, I'm like, is this film from a different era? Why the fuck does he not just have an H4n Zoom with a shotgun mic, right?
Yeah.
But he had this big old pack.
He's got a really heavy-duty
really
good
nice,
one.
sound.
It's fucking awesome. And he's recording outside and inside, and sounds exactly the same regardless. That's
high end.
No one else will care about that at all.
No, but I enjoyed it. Yeah. It's kind of
I kind of want to know what the equipment was because it sounded phenomenal.
It did. It was good.
For sure, they were picking up subway sounds and shit. It sounded really fucking good. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was kind of just a snapshot of what it's like to be a kid and also what it's like to be an adult that's lost. I mean, it's two people that are both lost that just happen to find each other.
And even the relationship, which we haven't really touched up on in this review, is the relationship between Johnny and Viv in the idea of this whole story of their mother dying of dementia.
Yeah.
And them having two different ways of dealing with this pain of losing their mother to dementia, where Johnny wanted to take care and like go along with her delusions, where Viv thought that was the worst thing you could possibly do.
That line hit me really hard where she was like, you're losing someone that loved everything you did.
I'm losing someone who never got me.
Yeah, that was brutal, dude. That rough. Line was, holy shit. Like it
heavy. When then you
puts
learn
everything in perspective of like, this person may be dying and you may be feeling one thing and I may be feeling an exact opposite feeling. Yes. But both those feelings are just as heavy. But it was
absolutely.
It was a great fucking line. And that was so true. It's like he just wanted her to be happy, and he'd go along with delusions, and maybe that's not the best thing to do. And she, was angry, but also confused at the whole thing going on. She didn't want to go along with delusions, but it wasn't like I'm mad at this person, so I don't want them to be happy kind of thing. But it was like, what's best for this person?
Well, it was also really great character development because we saw the relationship between her and her mother. It was hinted at with Jesse. With obviously saying that, I know my mom used to run away and do all this kind of stuff when they were getting dinner. But then, like, you see the way Viv has become a mother in her ways of communicating with her kid.
Yeah.
And really making sure she understands Jesse.
Probably the opposite of how her mother treated her.
Due to the circumstances of how she was raised, but really flushed out character, you know.
Yeah,
I could see why she was the way she was.
And those scenes are very short, too. Those scenes that we get with the mom and everything, it's not a big part of it, but it's just... The main focus is on Jesse and Johnny, but just those few scenes kind of put everything into perspective of like, oh, that's why she acts the way she acts. That's why he acts the way he acts. Yep. It was a beautiful thing. Something I got to bring up. One more thing is Woody Norman, who's never done a film before, is British.
In real life.
Real life.
Yes.
Doing a fucking accent this entire time. I'm blown away by this kid. This kid might be nominated for something.
I wouldn't be mad about it. I mean, definitely deserves it.
I can't believe it. Yeah, he did a great accent. It blows my mind.
Couldn't even tell.
No, I had no idea until I read about it earlier. That's it's like Christian Bale level of accent to me. You know, Christian Bale, he very British. He only does American, and you never can tell.
Can't tell.
But yeah, I just thought that was incredible. Yeah. That kid was great, man.
He was. He really was.
We'll be seeing him, and
I guarantee he's gonna be a star one day.
Who's got a better name, Woody Norman or Scoot McNairy?
I gotta go with Woody Norman. I like Woody better.
I love the name Scoot.
You love the name Scoot? Would you name your firstborn child Scoot?
No, I'd name my dog Scoot, but I never name a human Scoot. Or like a pet gerbil or something. Right, yeah. But yeah, it's not a human name. But Scoot McNairy, it always makes me laugh. That guy's a great actor too, and he only ever plays like really small roles, and yeah, just a really small role for him to play. He's in it for like 2 minutes, and he's just he did do a very good job of showing mental illness, though.
Yeah. And doing it in a very realistic way.
Yeah.
You know, very subtle things.
And not like he's completely off the deep end, but he's slipping that way. There. Yeah. Very paranoid at one point, and tragic for Viv, too.
Super.
She's going through a lot, my guy. We may need a sequel just showing what she's going through at this time. Like
she may be going through mental...
chasing this guy around the city. Like she's trying to get him in the hospital. It's fucking...
awful.
It's wild, but... One of my favorites of the year, I'm just going to say that. I may have a few black and white films on my...
Yeah, on your top 10.
Weird.
Yeah. There have been a few really good ones. Tragedy and Macbeth. This one, Belfast. Belfast.
This one and Belfast to me are very comparable because they both kind of deal with childhood.
Yes.
And personal tragedy for sure. But
and both had that weird family element to it, you know.
Yeah.
I would say, just in different ways.
Yeah, well, Belfast
is about a
kid.
More community family.
Yeah, and there's terrorism going around constantly. Like that kid had a much rougher life, I would have to say.
I'd say so.
I mean, pick and choose, you know.
Yeah, that is
growing
true.
up with a dad that has
mental illness. Yeah, that might be rough.
Or growing up in a time when the RRA is trying to blow up your entire village. It's also...
Pick your poison. All right, Cash. That is our review for Come On, Come On. If you guys like what you've seen here, please be sure to smash that like button, comment below, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell notification as we drop videos here every single day. Thank you so much for watching and listening. My name is Mason Knight. That is Cash Kraus. And until next time.
Bye.